I want to talk to you about the podcast mastermind that I'm launching. If you are someone who wants to get your message out to the world in a bigger way, if you want to connect with more people, if you want to reach more people, I have transformed my life because of this podcast, because of this 12-hour marathon, and the difference that it's made for me and my community and my ability to grow my business, my message, my confidence. All of it has been incredible. So if that's something that interests you, make sure you send me a message, chris@beyourgps.com. Find me on Facebook, message me there. Let me know you're ready to start your podcast. Or if you just want to find out more about the process of podcasting, how it all works, I'm happy to share that information with you as well, give you some guides and information that can get you going in the right direction. So I'm looking forward to talking to you about getting your message out there more, increasing your platform, your visibility, all that good stuff, okay? Next up is going to be the iTunes review of the week. And let's put it up on the screen this week. The iTunes review of the week is Mr. Thomas S. Rousseau Jr. And Thomas says, Chris Burns brings out the best in all of us. And I've listened to several of the podcasts, and I'm continuously impressed with Chris's genuine enthusiasm for not just his guests, but for a life worth living. That's right, Thomas, 100%. That's the only option we got. I highly recommend the Becoming Your Greatest Possible Self podcast and suggest you add this to your list of must listen to podcasts. Absolutely. Now, if you want to give us a review, if you want to get featured and get shouted out on one of these 12-hour marathons and all the interviews that we do during that day, go to beyourgps.com/iTunes and you can give us a review there, or search Becoming Your Greatest Possible Self on the iTunes store and you can find us like that. And that will make a huge difference for us and let us know what we can do to continue to grow the 12-hour marathon, improve it, and make it even better for you in the future. So beyourgps.com/iTunes or search Becoming Your Greatest Possible Self on the iTunes store. Now, I'm going to introduce Helen in just a second. We're going to be talking about discover that true self through heart-to-heart communication with animals and nature. And this woman is absolutely incredible. Had an amazing conversation with her the other day, and you definitely want to stay tuned throughout this because I swear she's going to share so much unique and valuable wisdom that you might not have heard before, because we're diving into this conversation about animals and nature. And that's not a place that we typically go, just because it's personal development is typically the entrepreneurship, the mindset. Cool. That's all great. And I love bringing in unique perspectives and people who are getting back to the basics, connections with animals. I was just out this last weekend riding horses in Utah. So I got to really connect with these horses, and it was incredible. I know Helen loves horses as well. So I just want to let you know it's going to be an amazing interview. Stay till the very end, because you never know what one idea can transform the rest of your life, and it's going to be super valuable. Okay, so stay till the end, grab a piece of paper, grab a pen, be ready to take notes. Let's introduce Helen, and then we'll bring her on the screen. Helen Brennand is an author and equine professional based in England. She is an accomplished writer, trainer, holistic therapist, and has a passion for horse welfare and respect for them as sentient beings. It was her beloved horses who nurtured her through a period of immense sorrow, culminating in a beautiful and unexpected spiritual awakening. Complementing her writing, Helen's time is now dedicated to the center she has founded to ensure a lasting and safe place where a horse's inner wisdom is free to be released and allowed to shine. And we are blessed to have her here with us today. Helen, are you ready to rock the house?
I am. Yeah, great to be here, Chris.
Awesome. We're doing it. You're now live on Becoming Your Greatest Possible Self. Thank you for being here and just who you are and what you stand for. It's incredible. And we're really blessed to have you. So thank you so much.
Oh, thank you for inviting me. It's great to be here with such enthusiasm and spirit for life and being our best.
Absolutely. Well, this is just the beginning. We're going to have a blast, Helen. Let's dive right into the theme of the day, which is don't die with your music still in you, still inside of you, not expressed, not given to the world. What does that mean for you, Helen?
Well, I think for me, it would be to not express, just even like speaking on this show today. It's a huge thing to speak honestly and truthfully about who I am and who is inside here. So when it was inside and I wasn't speaking about it, which I have done for a long time, just little pieces of you die slowly, day after day after day, and it gets to the point where there's such an empty space that you can't fill. So for me to die without letting all this wonder and passion and truth out would be well, it'd be a life wasted. It would be, and I think that's mostly for everyone. And I think one of the things the horses show me is to not be frightened to speak that truth, no matter what your truth is, and to allow it to shine and allow it to just come forth whenever it wants to, without being frightened.
That's incredible. It's the music. We think about our gifts, we think about our abilities, and I love how you connected that to our truth. What is our truth? What is the thing that's true for us that we want to share with the world? And it sounds like through working with the horses, you were able to really identify what is your truth and what is the message that you want to get out to the world, and then have the confidence and the boldness to be able to do that.
Yeah, I think it's that confidence. And because I think before I really opened up to what the horses were offering, I think that I was always restricted, and they helped me shed all the labels. They helped me find that authentic self and my true self. And speaking about singing songs, I just want to share this with everyone. We've literally just released a song which was written. I was inspired to write it through the horses. So we worked with a young band, and this fantastic collaboration has formed, and we have our song, sing our song. So check us out.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And how can people find that song again? We'll recap it at the end, but just tell us right now.
Well, it's just today actually gone on tinybuddha.com. They've just done an article on it, and I worked with a young band who are fabulous young people who wanted to bring to life that voice. And I mean, I don't have their beautiful voices and talent for music, but I produced the lyrics. But and that brought us all together. So it brought these young people, the horses, and the messages that I was able to write and bring it to life and create. We started to really create in the world, and I think that is where our centre with the horses and the haven is going, and is helping others bring to life that creativity, whether it's through music or writing or poetry, spoken word. We've got some amazing young people coming forward.
Yeah, and just unleashing their gifts, their music that's within them, and you're channeling that, you're facilitating that. That's beautiful. And I want to dive into a little bit more what specifically you do for your clients, what people come to work with you for, and with the horses. Tell us a little bit more about that, Helen.
Well, when I used to just be a regular horsewoman doing the regular things until I just had this very deep connection with them, and I realised that they had this intelligence and this understanding to offer us, and they are so receptive of emotions, so you can't hide anything from them. And I began to understand what they were trying to show me, what they were trying to mirror to me. So I went through this experience of learning, really. And then at the end of that, the culmination of that for me was freedom. I found my own personal power, and I thought, I've got to share this. So that's how it began. And people come for different things. Some people may come for just to connect to that peace and to be with therapists that don't judge, don't criticize you. They don't give you should do, you must do, this is how you have to move forward. They are in this peaceful place where the actual client becomes empowered and feels what the next step is. So some people come for that. Some people come for personal growth. So they'll work with an individual horse to maybe overcome fear. So it's very unique for each person, maybe coming for something comforting or something to help overcome fear, or something that maybe they want to just explore what is inside and what gifts that may have been missed, because the horses are very, very, very quick to pull out those gifts that you have overlooked for a long time.
Wow.
So that's the kind of work we do. And we do also try and encourage young people to write and express themselves through writing, because that's obviously something that I didn't think I could do, was write. And obviously my experience got shared through writing. So we create opportunities for young people to come, be inspired by nature, be inspired by that frequency around the horses, and then try and help them convey that through the written word, even if they just write it and then do nothing with it. But really, we want to really help them reach that pinnacle of their potential. So then we really want to look into and explore how can we bring that creation to life. But to be honest with you, we seem to be open to everything. There's a lady come today and she's going to use her sound healing. She did sound healing with the horses, and we're going to offer more meditations with other people coming in. So you have to come, Chris. You've got to come.
Well, I hear utilizing these different modalities and types of healing and inner work and expression. Just putting the pieces of the puzzle together and finding out what clicks based on what people's needs are. Everyone has different perspectives and different ways that they see the world and interact with the world. So to be able to facilitate that, I'm sure takes some versatility on your part to be able to take what comes and say, hey, well, I think that this path would be the best way, or I think that path would be the best way. And I'm sure you have also developed your expertise over the years. So I want to go back into the journey and talk about how did you first get started with horses, and then you could take us through that spiritual awakening that you had as well. So just take us back on the journey, Helen. Tell us about that.
Okay. Well, I loved animals from being young. It was just something natural that I was born with, really. It was such a strong passion. And I was only maybe 7 years old, and that's when my mum took me to a riding school, and that was it for horses. I was in love, and really, I think I didn't maybe realise how connected I was with them until more recently, because it was such a natural bond, and it's where my imagination flew, and it was just seamless. It was just a seamless period of growing up when I was there with them. Then you get into the world, and you're told, well, that's not something that you can earn a living from, and this. So you get sort of pulled into this sort of dreary sort of mindset, and a lot of the creativity and passion I had sort of died, really, for quite a period. And I did different jobs, and it was later on, maybe in my 20s, I thought, oh no, there's just something empty, and I got back into teaching, and I just thought, no, I'm going to give this a go. So I ended up going back to where I was when I was maybe 16 or 17, and just followed that path and that passion for learning. And I learned and trained, and I found that I really enjoyed anatomy and physiology. And I got really passionate about this, and I was able to help a lot of horses who had suffered trauma and physical problems. But that really, looking back, was a decoy, because that was actually teaching me to listen and to observe the horse's body. And the more I was observing the very subtle movements of the muscles and the horse's gait, I was actually tuning in to a deeper level with the horses. So that was really leading me up and preparing me for when we'd lost a child, and we were grieving quite badly, and we were struggling. And for me, day to day, just getting through the day, caring for the horses was quite challenging. And so I was very present for the first time in my life. I think it's the first time that I couldn't be rushing ahead with the thoughts. I just had to cope with this moment to the next moment to get through the day. And that's when they got me. And I remember just looking, and I was just drawn into it. Was such a powerful, powerful moment, one that I will never forget. And my heart could have burst. It was so beautiful, and they felt every emotion that I had. They felt everything, but soothed it. It soothed it in a way that no one's words could have done. And from that day on, I thought, right, you've got something to teach me, and I need to listen and watch. And it was as if they'd just put all their arms around me, and one by one, each horse kept, over this period of time, would come up to me and mirror something about me, something that I had to learn, and something I had to face. And I did. I went on this phenomenal journey of discovery of who I was, how to overcome fear, how to use emotions in a really practical way, because horses don't see good or bad.
Was this in a period of a couple days, couple weeks, or how long was this happening?
It was going on for, it's never stopped. To be honest, it goes on. I just think, I'm a work in progress, and there's always something new. They always take me to a new level. But at that period of time, I would say I had 3 very profound months, but it could be a split second where I had a understanding and a realization just instantaneously about a particular belief that I had, or a particular conditioned mindset that I thought I had to adhere to. And it was as if they were one by one taking the shackles from my mind. And that had obviously an effect on me physically. The physical body then had to catch up, really. When you let go of something that you believe for a long time, and then you realize that isn't the case and you are free, it was just wonderful. And I could feel the potential and the power, not in an aggressive way, and it wasn't in a dominant way. It was in a very pure, non-force, but expressive and expansive way that I just wanted to tell everybody. I just wanted to say to everybody, this is us. This is all of us. This is you. This is me. But it wasn't always received so well, because that enthusiasm, it's and I understand why it wasn't always received quite as well as I was taking it at the time. And I understand more now that you need to be in a place ready to receive that. So so that was sort of what was going on. And then from that day really onwards, the whole sort of, although our ethos was very non-force, and it was we were always working with the horses in a way that we listened to what the body language was communicating. This changed it dramatically.
So what changed in terms of understanding that these horses could provide breakthroughs and shifts and openings in paradigms? What changed, like, professionally for you with your business and the relationship with how you utilize and train with the horses and
everything changed again. It was one of those moments. So we removed all any kind of equipment that had some kind of force. So bits, we removed bits. We do still have like the odd saddle, which we've got some quite athletic sport horses, so we know we do. I am getting older. But we went sort of more bareback, bitless briding. We trained through our mind connection. We just sort of bit by bit removed everything, and we found that when that happened, we actually had phenomenal responses with the horses. But we also were already working towards creating as near as possible to a natural life as we can create in a domestic environment. So the trust and freedom had already been sort of kicking in for the horses. So the horses, I think, were already getting prepared to be able to trust in a way that is necessary for them to be able to be as free as they were with me. They trusted me completely to be able to do this. So they didn't I never saw them as machines. They never had to do. It was always very two-way, the relationship. So that changed in how we were. We were pretty much all natural with the foods and the way we were looking for the health side of what we were doing. Business-wise, it was a complete change. My husband left his job. We decided to set up this centre dedicated back to these animals that had given us such a profound and beautiful experience, which wasn't easy because he had a really good job, and obviously we were suddenly earning not very much because we were trying to develop this new it wasn't always easy to quite explain to people what I was trying to facilitate because it was different for every person. There's no set structure to it. It's you come and we see what they say, and then I would facilitate them through whatever had happened or whatever the horses were offering. But also as we'd had this experience, certainly I'd had it, and my husband was observing it really, and he said that he wanted peace. So that was his thing. He said, I want peace, and I don't want to be in that world where it's, you're fighting tooth and nail against each other, and it's that sort of battling, it's competition. And that brings its own challenges, doesn't it, when you choose peace? Because he was then faced with many things that were trying to make him not very peaceful. So we used to have some laughs about seeking peace, but that's sort of how it went. And then, but I had this inner knowing that this would work, however not logical it seemed at the time. And slowly but surely, we are growing in strength, and what we do, we know we serve. We serve the animals in the best way that we can, and the people that come get to see life from a new perspective, one that they can take away with them and hopefully use in a positive way. So crazy.
Okay, so let's say, for example, someone who's listening in the audience right now has a scarcity or a lack mentality, and they feel like they're not earning enough money, and they want to break through that and feel abundance and prosperous. What do you think would be what do you think would happen with the horses? How would you prepare that kind of a transformation or a healing or a breakthrough with the horses? And I'm sure it would probably vary once people get there and what could happen, but I'm just curious, do you have something related to that?
Well, I think all of us sort of have, that is quite obvious with most of us, and certainly everyone who comes. There is always aspects, there's always usually parts of the life that they feel that lack of abundance, and it's the horses will respond. So for example, one lady came recently who didn't feel loved, hadn't been loved, and so there was this huge gap. So you sort of push love away, don't you, sometimes when you feel unlovable or in that way. And one of our horses that we call Love, you can see, because you get this limbic resonance between, so each horse reads the energy, reads the emotions, the frequency, because we can't kid them. And you can see who locks on to who. So I know what's going, who's going to go where. And this horse so gently and so beautifully came up to her, and she wrapped herself around her, not in a forceful way, but in a way that was loving. And she gave pure, unconditional love. And the lady, she just cried, and we didn't speak because, it wasn't one of those situations where sometimes people don't want to speak about it. They just want to release it. But it was the most beautiful thing to witness. And without words, you could read everything and every emotion. And that lady felt filled up. It just changed. She felt lovable. She didn't deny it from the horse, whereas if it had maybe been a person, it'd have been harder to accept. But she accepted it. And so from that day forward, knowing how to accept, it's the first step to accepting it then from people or from your family. And, and I think sort of when we sometimes feel we can't attract things in our lives, they'll mirror that in how they move around the person. So what I can do is give them little tasks to do to change that. So it becomes it's your sort of, you're reading yourself really. So if the horse won't interact, but then if you change a thought, the horse picks up on that frequency very quickly, and you'll see that the horse then will come in, and it's sort of, so they can use that if they feel maybe they want to earn more money, or there is something material. So if you change the thought, you change the frequency, and you can start to attract that. And that's what I've had to do with this place. Because everybody, thinks that, oh God, you can't do that. You can't survive doing that with horses and this, that, and the other. But this mind believes.
Yeah. And you really get to create the vision of how it's all unfolding perfectly, and you can feed that energy of, well, I wonder how it would be today. I wonder what kind of challenges or problems or limiting beliefs or hurts and pains we can break through today and heal people with today. And that is so exciting. And knowing that the horses get to play a part in that, you are in resonance with the horses in that love that they want to give, that they want to express, being the intelligent being. So you two have the same intention, and you're just able to continue to feed that and grow that.
They seem to have they're very quick at getting to the core of it. I'm not that quick. I have to watch them to get to it, because they seem to be able to cut out all those sort of little beliefs that have attracted to the one big belief that maybe is stopping you moving forward, or that limiting belief that has become quite sort of ingrained. They're very accurate. So I have to give all credit to them, to be honest.
I love it. Well, I think they are the more of the vehicle, so to speak, and the transformational catalyst. And you are the, I don't want to say the ringleader, but let's say if you were the circus master or the host or whatever, coordinating the production, coordinating the transformation and the breakthroughs. They couldn't do it without you. So you're the channel, you're the vessel to introduce people to be able to heal.
Well, I think that's what I realized, that they have a purpose, just like we have a purpose. And that was quite a big life-changing moment for me, because I thought every time I listen to them, they are set free, and they would look physically different, and they became more peaceful, and their whole demeanor changed when they'd been listened to and heard. So they're just like us, really,
And I'm curious, with your relationship with them, did you get to build the relationship first with them so that they would trust you, and then because they have that pre-existing trust and relationship with you, then you're able to bring in other people who they may not know yet, and they know that everything is okay and that they're just there to love, and they don't have to worry about their safety necessarily? Or what do you think?
Yeah, well, originally I think as I was learning, I had years. I just enjoyed building upon sort of the knowledge and understanding that I had. And I think particularly when I was doing the anatomy and physiology training, and I was doing a lot more observation, a lot more hands-on, I developed a deeper understanding, deeper skill, and it became a deeper communication, which built a trust. And I think the trust had to come before that. They trusted me wholeheartedly, that they were safe, and I would always take responsibility if there was any threat or any danger, and that, I believe, allowed for this huge experience for them to completely let go and show me all of who they are. And I do think when somebody comes in, so when somebody comes and we step into their environment, we watch, so we let them welcome and accept and bring in whoever's come. But I do take responsibility in a period of a healing or a facilitated session, because sometimes they'll go into a very deep state, so the breathing changes, because the physiology changes. So if there's a limbic resonance, so for example, say they're connected to you, there's an emotional tie, and usually they're soothing the other person, so the breathing slows down, and the eyes change and the face softens, so they go into quite a deep state of relaxation, and the parasympathetic nervous system's triggered, so they're in a very sometimes quiet sort of trance-like space. So that's where they, that I will be seen as the one who is keeping guard and protecting the herd and ready to. But you see, in a moment's notice, if they don't feel that protection, the instincts can trigger, and if they feel the flight, they have to run. So that is quite important that they have got that safety and protection.
Yeah. Wow.
So,
so powerful. So when you focus on the true self, really like owning ourselves and knowing who we are and releasing anything that doesn't serve us, how does that conversation get introduced with the horses, and knowing who we truly are? How does that work?
That's sort of something that happens as soon as we step in or I step in. They read who we truly are, so they'll read any incongruence in mine or clients' behavior that they're displaying. So it's very obvious very quickly what's the truth and what's not, what needs to be moved out of the way for this to shine. And what's beautiful about them is they sort of know how much a person can let go of at one particular time. So it might be one area of their lives that, and it's one of those things that suddenly they'll think, oh God, that something will come up into the memory, and so we just work with that, and we help release that from the body. And you'll watch the horses. We have one particular horse that you sort of know when somebody is ready to let go of something emotionally, and she'll move as if she's moving that energy out, of the area, where we're working, and so that layer will go, and there may be an emotional release, and then usually someone will tap into something within them, and they can sometimes feel it, sometimes they just sense it, sometimes they just feel this strength. It's like a fire within them. And then slowly, some people are ready straight away to embrace that, but then some need a little bit more time, because it's quite powerful, isn't it? And where do you take it, and what do you do with it? And for me, I embraced it, but I did used to think, what will I say next? I was a bit cautious, because when I just started to say things out very boldly and more confidently, and I started saying no when I would normally say yes, and I was like, oh my God, what have I awakened?
Yeah.
So there was this fire raging to get out in the world and do its stuff. So So for me to watch, I can see usually when I can see how they again cut through the incongruence, the labels that we carry to the truth of that person, but whether that person's ready. We're all individual, and it may take a little bit longer for some than others, and then sometimes we don't always want to really embrace it. So they are very gentle if you just want to do it layer by layer.
Yeah. What do you think might be some hesitations that people have before they're ready to work with you or go through this process? Where might they be a little afraid or unsure or have some hesitations?
I think I think our mindset is, where we are with our mindset, with the conditions that we carry, the limitations. I think sometimes we get locked into thinking, well, there's only one way, a certain way, that they think there's only a certain passage that they can go down to, and it's quite a tough one usually. I think it if it's easy, and I'm not saying this is an easy path, because once you open up, it's not easy, is it? Because you're ready to face your fears, and they're not easy to face. They're challenges, aren't they? Every day, like you say, we take a challenge and face it and move through it. But I think, so sort of having a limited mindset as to how you can move through it can stop you taking that leap of faith. And also fear that if things change too much, it can be so uncomfortable. And I think sometimes staying in the comfort zone can really limit you and just hold you back. And I do think that, each of us has to have certain things in place so that we're ready. Looking back, I think all the things that I was doing was preparing me for that moment. But if I'm honest, I was asking really in my heart to change things in my life. I was asking. So in the end, I think it happened. And but I did embrace it. I did want it. So I did take it, and it's worth it.
So it's probably the biggest hesitation might be being a little closed-minded, it's a little unconventional what you're doing, so to speak, and it's only unconventional because, like, I think we've let the natural part of us in connecting with nature and animals, we've let that part kind of atrophy, right, and wither away and die even because we've been so caught up living in the traditional kind of 9-to-5 job and materialistic world and society to go get things and achieve. And it's like when we can let go of that paradigm and our attachment to it and our necessity to keep doing it that way and be open and say, I know I'm not as happy as I want to be. I know I'm not as peaceful. I know I'm not as abundant. I know I'm not as self-expressed as I'd like to be. What is the solution? Show me. Heart, soul, God, universe, source, whatever it is. Show me how I can learn. Show me the steps. Show me the answers. And for anyone who's listening to this interview still up to this point, I have a feeling that Helen has some wisdom to share with you, and you can definitely get in contact with her. We'll share how to do that. And specifically, I know, Helen, you wrote a book to help share this wisdom and to reach more people and share your experience. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, well, as I had this experience, I began writing it down. It was it's been described as stream consciousness writing, because I didn't really understand it at first when I wrote it, and I thought, how this is different. So as I was having this inner experience and understanding of sort of all levels of my being, and not only mine individual, it was things that are going on in the world and things that are happening around us. I was able to connect to all levels of understanding within that. So it's written in this sort of a poetic way of describing realizations and truths and understandings that I experienced, and hopefully to share them with. It's a very simple, really, way of how the horses showed me the simplicity of life and to how to reach the true power of your individual self, and how to become the creator in your world and in your life and make a difference. And they saw this limitless potential within me and within everyone. And if we, the people, actualize that, bring it out into the world and come together, they showed me a vision of one seamless and beautiful unified world. So I've got to go out there and share it.
Yeah, I love it. And we had some comments. Aria said, have you ever heard of FLFE, Focus Life Forced Energy? And she also wanted to know, where are you located? My aunt should go go and see you. She used to have horses. So Aria, we'll definitely share how you can connect with Helen as well. And Helen, if you want to share real quick about the best way to get in contact with you, I know we're going to share it at the end, but what's the best way for people to talk to you?
Yeah, well, we've got a website, www.believe444.com, or we're on Facebook, Helen B Books, at Helen B Books there, and on Instagram, Helen B Books. So you can message, any of those places. We'd love to chat to you and hear any stories, any horse stories, especially.
Yes, love it. So awesome. So the book was written as a stream of consciousness, really to share about the limitlessness that is within all of us. Yeah. And what's the objective with the book? What do you really want people to get and to take action on and to know about themselves and about life that they can really get from the book?
Yeah. Is the power of the heart. The power of working through your heart, not giving up on logic, but just letting the logic just step aside for one moment while you become present and really feel the power of who you really are, and knowing that power is the gift that you're sent here with, and it's yours, completely yours, to create with as you wish, and don't feel limited to what you've been told, because that isn't the truth, and that's what I was shown. So really, it's using the power of your heart to fuel the world and your world, and really be complete and who you are, and create as you wish, because
what's the style of the writing so that people achieve that outcome? Is it sharing stories? Is there practical exercises that people will find in there? Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, no, it's not practical at all. It's just a flow. Each horse, as I'd said at the beginning, I looked around that day and I saw all these eyes, and there was one particular horse that drew me in that day. And then one by one, they're introduced throughout the book, and they flow in it. It's like a flow, really, and they flow in and out, and they introduce me and bring me into the herd and their energy and their intelligence, and share with me every answer to every sort of dilemma that is going on in me and in my head. And it's so simple, and I think, gosh, how did I not see it from that perspective? So it was like having this vision washed right through my mind and washed out, because one of the chapters is called "Washed in the Waters of the Heavens," and that's how it felt. It felt like every stagnant belief system was washed away. But so each horse is introduced. There's no names, but they're described by the colours, or how I'm interpreting each of them. And it was difficult to put names in because they removed all the labels from me. So we removed every label. They're described in sort of how I'm, like, one is a copper colour beauty, so she's a chestnut horse. She's called Remedy, and she was like this fount of all knowledge during this period of time, and she is like divine mother here. She's got this power and this energy where she reads us all and keeps us all in line, and is amazing, really. So that's sort of the flow of the book. Each horse has its own message, and then it sort of goes into a little bit of how sort of, well, I'm not saying political things, but things in our world are how dictators will, how there's going to be a shift, and they're going to fall off the perch, really. And that is how they visualize it, as we, the people, find our true power, which has been denied from us. And this next generation coming up, they've got really high hopes for.
Yes, we do. Yes, it's the perfect time for people to really transcend what has been keeping us stuck in the survival and the fear and the lack and limitation, and really step into our greatness, our infinite power and love. And I think you're one of those facilitators. You're one of those catalysts who's helping and supporting to create that change.
Yeah, well, that's what we hope to do, and we just hope to encourage more young people to share their voices in whichever way they can do that, because we value everything about them and their opinions, and so that's another part that's really important to us here as well.
I love it. And for people who are out of the country, because you're over in Europe right now, what's the best way that they can get involved with you? Is it buying the book first? Is it having a consultation to see, a retreat? Or tell us a little bit more about how your services work.
Well, our book is, every penny of the book goes into the centre. So if people buy the book, that not only it helps the horses, and it helps us grow, and it helps us create great space for them. If people want to ask questions, then just contact us through any of our social media sites, and don't be frightened to just get out in nature and look and sit without judgment and just see what happens. Because even if you can't get here, if you can get out and go back every day, even if it's for 5 minutes, because you'll be amazed at what and how your perception changes, but what you learn about yourself, and what the natural world is actually communicating to us, because it's very wise.
It is. And I'm sure there's a question that's going through people's minds. What's the right way to go into nature and connect with nature and really just get the wisdom? And what would be your response to that, Helen?
Well, I'd first of all say, because don't think about it. Don't worry about whether you're going to get it, because you've already got it. It's only a reconnection, and the best way to reconnect is breathe. So learn to breathe and slow your breathing down, and then get out into nature, whether you're walking or you sit in nature, but just be really focused and really interested on the tiniest things. So if you look at a horse, or you look at a tree, or you're looking in, across a beautiful landscape, just be so interested and engrossed in it until you've got that little opening. And then it comes, you're reconnected back to your roots. And there sits this infinite wisdom and knowledge and truth about who you are. And that's waiting for each and every one of us to revisit. And we are all are worthy of that.
Yes, we are. So the best recommendation I heard is to breathe, really focus on slowing down the breathing, getting present in the moment. And it's paying attention to the little details. And the distinction that I've learned is not to judge or criticize or, take the detail and start making a story about it, or think about it, or pull yourself out of the moment, but just witness, be the witness, be the observer, be connected with what is, and don't have a thought process about it, but just be with it.
Be with it. Exactly. I think being the witness is one of the things that I learned. That's what happened. I learned to be the witness, and I could witness for quite a long time, even when I knew I was doing it wrong. But just at least being the witness knew that I would change it. When I slipped back into bad habits, So being the witness is it's a wonderful experience, and that is again something that we all have access to when you can just take that bit of time out. And I think then, particularly in nature, it just calls you back and back once you start going.
Yeah. What have been some other big shifts or openings, awakenings, breakthroughs for you with nature? Has anything else come to mind for you?
I think I realised very quickly that fear was sort of manufactured in our world. It's everywhere, and that the heart can neutralise anything. And it's just that commitment to yourself and that commitment, taking that responsibility. I think I knew I had to take action. I knew I was having this amazing experience, and it was very blissful. But I knew that there were certain things that were eradicated instantly that left, but there were certain fears and challenges that I knew I was going to have to face physically. So I knew those that and I knew I was going to do it, and that was, once you sort of know that it's not real, it's part of this system that's been sort of set up that we feed on, really, and we're fed, and you can remove yourself from that and you can live a very different life. I think that was a really big one, and knowing that I didn't have to, it wasn't my responsibility to make anyone happy, was a huge one, really. That was massive, and that had a choice. That was a big one. I think there was a lot, really, but knowing I had a choice, that was really, I really had to be with that for some time, because I thought a lot of things I had to do, and so there were simple things, but life-changing moments that I never, I knew I wasn't going to go back to where I've been, and in the silence and the stillness of being with animals and nature, that wisdom of how to direct my life in a peaceful and fulfilling way was waiting all the time. So again, if anybody goes out into nature and they're breathing and looking at things, so to be still and feel the stillness and feel what's happening inside your body, because mine was chaotic when it happened. Although, gosh, when I really listened inside, something was screaming to get out and live a more authentic life and be who I am, and not worry about that, not worry what anyone thinks.
Yeah. So incredible. So if there was a final piece of wisdom or takeaway you wanted to give to our audience, because they showed up today and they tuned in and they're really loving this and they want to get more, what's that final piece of wisdom that you would give to them?
Well, each and every one of them is a beautiful, beautiful soul and beautiful person. And I would say never, ever feel guilty or feel shameful. To honor yourself and know that all those things that you do, berate yourself for, are all things that are actually important, things that are leading you back to yourself. So embrace them, face them, look at them, and love them, and you'll get home quicker.
So good. I love this, Helen. So we want to know, how do we stay connected? What are the next steps that they can take? You mentioned about your book. Tell us a little bit more about how to get that and continue their journey with you.
All right. It would be lovely if people did want to continue and tell us that. We love stories, so we love to hear everyone's stories. So you can send them by email or Facebook us. You can buy the book on Amazon or Smashwords. Okay. Or you can get it through different outlets in the UK, but I think for America it's Amazon.
Okay. USA, and remind us the title of the book.
It's Belief.
Okay, belief.
New beliefs and old beliefs and changing beliefs. So yeah.
Awesome. And they would find the book easily by just searching your name with the word belief, and that would probably be the fastest way.
Yeah, and one of the other lovely things is that while all this was happening, my daughter was drawing. She was only 13 at the time, and all the artwork is hers in the book. And anything I write now, she does all the artwork. And she has found her own voice, and she's doing poetry, so she's got a book out soon. So we're so excited about that as well.
That's awesome. So awesome. I love it. And then as far as getting in contact with you, they can go to the website Belief444 and learn more about your services and how you support people and can help facilitate those transformations and healing, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yes. Yeah, that's great.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And then Facebook, they just search facebook.com/Helen B Books. Is that where they can find you?
Yeah. Yeah, we've got Helen B Books. That's where we post about the horses and who's new in, and we post a little bit about sort of things that are inspiring us or things that they're getting up to, and so it's great to just meet, because sometimes some people can just see them and they can have that connection, and they can be having that experience all on their own. So sometimes we do say, if you can't get here, go on the website, see them, because they're quite powerful, and we don't need this. We don't always need to be together to have the experience. It's as soon as we tap in and tune in, we're all there to help each other, aren't we?
Yeah, and it's more about the choice, the willingness to step into it, the willingness to release that which doesn't serve us, the willingness to be open to receive the solution, the healing.
Yeah. And when you're with them, it's so, when I say real, it's so, they're so honest, and it's so pure, that it's such a powerful experience. There is nothing more real in that experience. It's very hard to sometimes describe when you're out of it, and you may be going around your supermarket and seeing, if you just start talking about it, people think, oh wow, but it is the truth, and it is in those moments in nature and with animals, when all that other stuff is pushed to the outside, and we get a chance to really listen to what life is speaking to us, and how it's trying so hard to guide us down a better path, a happier path, and back to one of peace and that unity with one another, that seamlessness.
So good. I love this. This conversation is just so I feel it's like awakening, it's opening, it's blossoming. I feel like that's the energy that you really bring with you, Helen, and it's absolutely beautiful. Anyone who's listening or watching right now, absolutely stay connected with Helen. Find out more, follow her on Facebook, and just have a conversation. Share what you're experiencing in nature, and when you experience that stillness and just being and being present. Share it with us, share it with Helen. And Helen, thank you so much for being here. You're just an enormous light in the world, and I know you're doing incredible work and awakening people, activating them, healing them. So keep it up, and thank you so much for coming on today. You rock.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for having me. And your work's been helping me. I've been doing your meditations as well. So thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. You're welcome. Hey, have the best day, and we'll see you soon, okay?
Okay, and you. Have a great show.
Take care.
Bye, everyone. Bye-bye.